Hey guys, welcome to Profit for Contractors, the no bullshit podcast for contractors. We are going to get down and dirty. We're going to talk about the top 3 things that you guys can do to build an A-team. And that if you don't do these top 3 things, which are right in front of you, super easy, that you're not going to get an A-team. You might get a B team, you might get a C can't deal with team, or you might get a D deadbeat team. So let's look and get deep and dirty under the hood. Tips and tricks with the top 3 things you got to look at to build an A-team. Catching the flip. Ciao. Who do you need to be is super, super important. You got to know what's going to give you the results specific to you. The ones that have the quickest impact, the quickest results with what's going on in your business right now. All right, so I'm doing this podcast from the house here. Thought I'd just crank it out, had a little bit of time. And first of all, I want to say welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We had a long weekend going on here in Canada. Not sure if you guys are getting long weekends in other parts of the world. Anyways, let's get into this topic of building an A-team. You know, if there's one thing that we got to make sure that we build beyond ourselves, it's leveraging our team, right? I don't know if anybody's heard the acronym of team. There's lots of different ones out there, but I really like the one, together everyone achieves more. That's that to me is huge, right? Together everyone achieves more. And when you think about it, you know, you look at trying to build a business. If you can't get a team or build a team, then it's all on your shoulders. And I can tell you, you're going to be super limited in what you can accomplish, what you can bring to the world. And you're definitely going to be in trouble when it comes to owning a contracting business and getting the business to ever run without you, because it's just going to be you. So I get asked all the time, and when I say all the time, I mean a lot, like at least once or twice, even more a week around, hey, Andrew, I can't find anybody. You know, I can't get my guys to do what I want them to do. Or, you know, I hear I can't when it comes to, you know, when it comes to building an A-team or finding people, let alone them even thinking about building an A-team. I mean, so a lot of times that doesn't even come to mind. But I love the A-team, like the actual TV show, the A-team. I just watched the movie there last week with my kids, and I used to watch the TV show all the time. And you think about it, we're truly trying to build an A-team, like A players, right? Whether it's in any game of sports, you want A players, you want the B players, you don't want the C players or the D players, you want the A players. And A players are people that, in all honesty, we're going to get a little bit into this around the character of an A player, is they're out to win, okay? So the very first place that we've got to look at is we've got to look at our current team that we've got. Now, I don't care whether or not you got a couple of people, 10 people, 100 people. Too many times we focus in on addressing one of the most common issues when I hear people say, I need more people, is they got too much work. They don't have enough guys, and they just can't get the projects done fast enough. I mean, if you're listening on this podcast and that resonates with you, then stick around. If you're on this podcast and you're not interested in building an A-team, then probably don't stick around. But that's what we're going to be getting into. So, look, you've got to get things rocking. You got to get things, you know, going in the right direction with the current team that you got. Otherwise, what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen when you go and add more people to the gong show that's going on? You're going to lose those people, okay? And the worst thing, I think, and this is what I experienced a long time ago, you know, when I was running my own contracting company, is when you've got, like, you know, you got almost like a Gretzky, you got an A player, you got somebody that's, you know, that's really, really talented, has a ton of potential. And, you know, so you know, number one, that it's possible, right? You know that there's people out there that have the ability to perform really, really well. Maybe it's them being a good foreman. Maybe it's just them being a good tech, right? Doing installs, you know, knowing how to troubleshoot things. You know, there's, you know, it could be an office person where, you know, we know that, you know, we know that They're really, really good at what they do. The quality of workmanship is amazing. They can think beyond us. They're smarter than us in certain areas. And then they say, they give us a phone call or an email, and they're like, yeah, I need to let you know something. This might be a little bit tough, but I'm handing in my resignation and I'm done in 2 weeks. I mean, that's like one of the worst things. You've got to get things nailed down with the current team you have before you ever look at expanding your business. And this might suck to hear this, but throttling back on the amount of work that you have versus just hiring more and more guys to bring on more and more work, yet from a core perspective, you don't have things nailed down when it comes to your team. You don't have things nailed down when it comes to the communication of your team. You don't have things nailed down. I'm having some technical issues here with the video. I don't know if this is going to start working, but hopefully the audio seems to be working good. So we're getting one of them working anyways out of the two. So here's the thing. Let's lay out a couple of things that you can do to nail down building your A team with the current staff you've got. I can't stress it enough. If you try to grow a business, you've heard it before. It's sort of like an old saying, right? Trying to build something on a weak foundation. You've got to get things rock and rolling with the team that you got. So here's a couple of tips that I want to give you guys. And I'm just going to give you like 3 core tips. One of the core tips you want to look at is asking yourself this question, okay? If you were to let everybody go, if you were to fire everybody, this is like the golden question. If you were to fire everybody today, who would you hire back? By the way, you're on that list, okay? Maybe you've heard me ask this question before in interviews or whatever, but that's a great question, right? Would you even hire yourself back? So where am I going with this? The first thing you want to do with that question is you want to rate in some form or fashion the people that you have, including you. So that means everybody on your team you want to rate. So that you got a gauge of like, who are people worthy of you putting time in on them? And we want to identify what truly is the problem that's going on. I think one of the biggest problems that go on is there's a massive lack of communication. I don't think people show up, come to work and go, oh, I'm going to make this the worst day of my life at this company, or I'm going to try and destroy this company and try and put it into the ground. I really don't think people are like, for the most part, that malicious. And I think we got to put a lot more trust in the people. I think one of the biggest reasons that people fail or they don't perform is because of us, because we've got to take ownership of this company of ours. I'm on basically like my 3rd business here, and things are going great and they're successful. But I got to tell you, as the company grows, you've got to change. You've got to change the structure of your company. You got to change, the way that you communicate with your team, how you communicate, whether that's, that could be as simple as using technology or certain cadences as far as certain rhythms, certain, times of the week that you want to engage with these people. I talk a lot about Monday morning meetings, Friday reflection meetings, team huddles. Like your meetings have got to be purposeful, but when you can put meetings in place that are purposeful, they actually have a purpose. Like Monday's meeting is not the same as Friday. Monday is I'm giving you a baseline, right? If you want to get some of these tools and templates, you guys can join one of our wicked groups. I think there's over 7,000 contractors in it, where you guys can get some of these tips and tricks and tools. And ask, other questions beyond this. So first things first, number 1, out of the 3, you've got to do an audit of the team that you've got. So what are some of the things to do an audit? Well, first and foremost, just high level, don't overcomplicate. Let's just rate them. Personally, I like out of 10. Okay. If it's easier for you to rate them out of 5, that's cool. If you want to rate them, green, yellow, red, that's fine as well. I like using numerical values. That way it's a gauge that you can measure something by, right? Numbers allow you the ability to be logical and allows you the ability to test and measure things a lot better than just saying, oh, this guy's really good or this guy's, not good. I mean, what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? Against what? This way, when you've got numbers and you're comparing your, the fellow team members, you can have a much better gauge of what does that number represent. Okay. So step number 1, really quickly, just rate the people you got out of 10, 10 being like, they're awesome. They're amazing. And let's just break down what are some of the areas. So I'm going to give you what are the top 3 areas that you really want to consider rating your team members. Okay. So we're still in step number one. And again, this can be short podcasts. We can wrap this up in like 5 minutes here. I think it's only been like 9 minutes or so. Here's the three, write them down. And it's in this order that they carry weight. That means that, in the order in which that I call them out, they have that much more importance, or the importance of them are in this order. Number one is their attitude. Okay. Attitude. Now, and what do I mean by attitude? Like when they come in, like what's their attitude? Is it a good attitude, bad attitude? Is it like no matter what you do, no matter what goes on, how good the day is, it could be the best day, everything could go smooth, no matter what, they're just bitching and complaining, right? This bad attitude you see in sports all the time. Guys don't want to, they're really good players. We'll get to that in a second, which is about skill set. They're really good skill set wise, but they don't fucking show up for practice. Right? They don't participate. They don't play by the same rules. I mean, no matter how skilled somebody is, that's going to pull down the rest of the team. Okay. So the first area you got to weigh them on is attitude. What kind of attitude do they have? Do they respect you? Do they respect people above them? Okay. Do they respect people below them? Okay. Second thing we got to look at, again, we're still in, the first step of this process is auditing your team and rating them. Second thing is fit. Fit with what? Fit with the team. How well do they fit with the team? You can have a person that's got a good attitude, right? But to see them on the ice, if we're using the analogy of hockey, which I use all the time, welcome to Canada, right? We love the game. They might show up and they're really pumped and they're really excited. But when they're out on the ice, right? When they're out trying to pass the puck, they're not connecting, right? There's no synergy. There's no magic, right? I'm not saying that all your team members need to be magical, amongst themselves, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like they get along, they can work together, they fit as a team. So number one is attitude. You want to rate that out of 10. Number two is fit with the team. How well do they fit with the team? And that includes you. Okay. That could include the customers, right? You could include your customers as your team. Your suppliers could be your team. I mean, or are the suppliers and your customers always complaining about these people because these people got, they just don't fit. They don't connect, right? Maybe that stems from their bad attitude, but look at how they interact with other people, especially the core team. All right. So that's fit. Next, last but not least, actually it is the least out of the three, but it still carries, it's still very, very important, is skill set. Now, let's talk about skill set, right? I get challenged by this all the time because in the world of trades, skill set tends to be like, oh man, that's the biggest thing. Like, oh, this guy's so good. He's able to do this finishing type of work, and this trim, or he's this good of an electrician or plumber or HVAC person, right? They're this knowledgeable. I'm like, yeah, but how well does a guy perform with the team? How good is his attitude? Oh, he's got a shit attitude, never shows up on time. And he doesn't like working with anybody, or nobody likes working with him. Well, listen, I don't care how skilled he is. He's going to lose you money. He's going to cause your A players that you've currently got to leave because nobody's going to want to work with somebody that's got a bad attitude and that they really don't work well with others, right? So that's step number one, is audit your team that you've got, okay? And by starting with a simple question of like, just get the brain juices flowing, is like, if you were the fire, everybody, who would you hire back, okay? Simple. Write it on the list, write it on the whiteboard, okay? And look at attitude, look at fit with the team, and look at skill set, okay? Next thing you want to look at is your culture, okay? Now, you might have a big impact on this. Not you may, you definitely will, okay? So when we're looking at your team, part of culture is defining what the rules of the game are. So in order for you to keep your team and for you to build an A team, you've got to know what an A team environment looks like. Man, if you're disorganized, if you're freaking scattered, if you're in chaos, if you're like knee jerking all the time, okay, go here, now go there, now go there, now pick up I forgot, go pick this up, go pick that up. I mean, seriously, imagine being an A player, being treated like a D player. Like, think about that. more, even better yet, think about when you were in the trades working for somebody, more than likely you were an A player. I mean, you were skilled, you had a good attitude, work ethics, right? I mean, you couldn't be a good entrepreneur, or even think about becoming an entrepreneur if you didn't have good work ethics, right? You definitely probably worked well with other people because you're like, hey man, like, you're probably one of the key guys in a team. Everybody liked, things of that nature. So, you think about this for a second. When you're looking at your culture and the rules of the game, you can take culture and turn it into the word, make it easier for everybody. Look at it as an environment. What kind of environment are you creating? A players like yourself probably got so pissed off with people you used to work for. You used to hate it when your boss or foreman, whoever, didn't order the right material, when they sent you out to a job and you didn't have what you needed, when they sent you to the wrong location, when they bitched and complained at you, no matter how fast you did the job and how good the quality was, it just never was good enough. You get the idea, right? So what kind of environment are you creating? You really need to dig into that, because that is going to keep A players, okay, big time, and is going to attract A players. Nobody wants to work in an environment that's chaotic. Okay. And that's why I'm getting you the focus here on, before we look at building your team, you got to optimize the team that you've got. Okay. Next. Okay. So make sure you got a good environment, right? i.e. a good culture, and that you stick by it and you do things to create that culture. Having back to these team meetings, that is part of culture. Culture is, setting the rules of the game and the tempo to say, hey man, I'm going to prevent chaos by being proactive versus reactive. I mean, I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to have these Monday morning meetings. I'm going to set out what the rules of the game are. I'm going to tell the guys how much work we've got, what's coming up, what the expectations are for the week. If they got any questions, I'm going to make sure they got what they need. I mean, sounds like a lot, but man, this is part of running a business. Okay. So what's number 3? And these aren't the only 3. These are just the top ones I want you to think about. We'll get more into it in other podcasts, okay? But in building an A team, A players need to know what position they're playing. I mean, imagine us going out to play a game of baseball. Everybody shows up on the field, and nobody knows what position they're going to play. You got a bunch of people that want to play first. You got some people just wandering around. You get some people don't even know some of these people are brand new to the game. They don't even know what a back catcher does. They don't even know what a pitcher does. Like, could you imagine that? Like, you could have some incredibly talented people, naturally or not, but you could have some really talented people on that field. And guess what? You're not going to fucking even be able to play the game. So where am I going with this? You've got to define the roles of everybody in the company. What is the role of the electrician? What is the role of the apprentice? What is the role of the foreman? What is the role of the project manager if you got a big enough company that requires a project manager and a foreman? What's the role of the estimator? What's the role of the admin, of the office staff, and we can go on and on. Why? Because people, in order to succeed, they need to know what the definition of their role is in order to know what the hell it is they're responsible for. Yeah, but he's an electrician. He knows what to do, does he? Is he responsible to clean the truck every Friday? I don't know. Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? Is it never? Right? Is the apprentice supposed to make sure that, maybe he's supposed to make sure that the truck is cleaned and restocked? I don't know. I mean, that might be a good idea. But if he doesn't, if nobody knows what their roles are, then you can't define what the rules of the game are for them. In other words, where they can play, where they can't play, what's in bounds and out of bounds. And you cannot define what the results are that you want out of these people. And that instantly, guys, when you don't have that, you're setting people up for failure. So imagine if, we don't even know, imagine we're trying to bring in more people. We're trying to grow this company. We're landing too much work. We don't have enough guys. And we're like, okay, I'm going to hire some more guys. And number one, we don't even know the rating of the current people we have. We don't even know who's good, bad, or ugly, right? We don't know who should get the hell off the bus and who should actually be promoted, right? Number two, we don't even know what the environment should be and what the rules of the game should be as far as how we communicate and what it is we're trying to create as far as, is it a fun environment, a positive environment? Is it just like, let's get her done? No bullshit. No, how's the weekend environment? No, Hey man, that's up to you. Okay. I really believe in a friendship environment, like where it's okay to be boss and friend, but there's a fine line. But that's even more important why you got to have your roles and your rules laid out, which brings us to number 3, which is making sure that everybody understands what the rules are. You can do that just by laying out what the different, we have a policy manual done for our clients, champion CEOs, and for any of you champion CEOs listening in, make sure you look up. The policy manual has a complete organizational chart. I call it like a responsibility chart. Who reports to who, what the roles are of each person, what the rules are, what the results are. You get your individual employees to sign off on that. And if they've got any questions, it gives them an opportunity to maybe elaborate on the role. Maybe they want to expand it. Maybe they want to bring some more to the table. So guys, there's 3 things. Just those 3 things alone, okay, is going to help you significantly define A players. By knowing what an A player, what who the A players are, if you have any, and if you do, man, you want to protect them. Okay, what kind of A player environment that you want, and what are you going to create, otherwise known as culture, right? And number 3, what kind of roles and responsibilities that you want to define. Let's call it A player, roles defined such that they are given the opportunity to succeed at those roles and really perform at the level that you need to. And not only that, having these roles laid out are so critical. And I got to tell you, sometimes I forget. I'll be honest with you. I forget how important they are until it comes up when we start growing, like even this company, right? Profit for Contractors, growing Profit for Contractors. The roles that were laid out in the beginning, there's a lot more roles now. Because the business is growing. I mean, there's a lot more complexity. There's a lot more different interaction. We got different departments now. When in the beginning there was only just me and a couple of other staff, and there was like one department. Now there's multiple departments. We got multiple coaches, like in different expertise, from mindset to bookkeeping to accounting, right? To whether it's estimating or marketing. And so in order for that to happen and go smoothly and grow at a rate that's in a controlled state versus like chaotic state, you've got to have those 3 things. You got to be looking at those 3 things all the time that we covered off today. So it's Andrew Houston from Profit for Contractors. If you're looking for more info like this, more insights, you want to get some of these tips and tricks and tools. We're working on a hiring audit tool. You want to get insights on that. And other areas regarding improving your business, then join our Contractor Tips group, and we'll see you on the flip side. And I'm just getting a bit of a nudge here. Looks like my lovely wife's giving me the nudge to say, "Hey, Andrew, we gotta go." So that's all good. Which it is. It's all awesome. We got to time things right on the mark. So hope you guys are having a great day. We'll catch you on the flip side.